My view is a quite straightforward one. Any name that is attributed to the Creator is going to be an attribute. What is the name of the Creator is a different issue.
So, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, he has particular attributes, right? And Allah has particular attributes. Now, I would simply say that, of course, they both have names, but the attributes, or rather the virtues, as well as the narrative, shows that there is a contradiction between who they are. So, for instance, a simple one, Genesis chapter 18. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob enters into time, interacts with Abraham on a physical plane, and even he has food, right, with Abraham, as opposed to the God of Islam, Allah, who never enters into time, as far as I'm aware. Maybe I'm wrong, but Islamic theology says that Allah never enters into time. He is unapproachable. He dwells in some, right, but time and creation, he's not part of that. Would you say that therefore they're the same?
Right, okay. So I would suggest that what you have introduced is something that would not address the essence of the Creator. It is something that has been introduced. So if I were to say, we have got Yahweh, we have got Elohim also. These are they names, are they titles, are they attributes? What are they?
Well, this is why I'm using the specific God of Abraham, God of Isaac, God of Jacob.
I noticed that.
And the reason why I'm using that is because Muslims like to tell me that they believe also in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yeah. But then when I bring up this specific incident of Abraham being in the presence of God on the earth, right, then it's like almost they won't accept this. They say that no, they don't. So I'm saying, are the two gods the same?
Yeah, respectfully, H, you are talking about the Muslims who I can't really say anything about. So if I would to restrict it to me and you, and I said that look, something else has been introduced about the notion of a creator coming down in the form of some human being.
What do you mean by introduced in Genesis 18? What do you mean by that?
This is what I just said. You see,
but what does it mean?
Can you just pull up Genesis 18? We've got 5 minutes. Can you pull up Genesis 18? Refer to the verse.
Anyway, coming back to what we talked, more crucial things, my dear friends. Can we?
I know 5.
Move back a bit.
Oh, okay. H, if you just come a few steps this way, thanks.
So, should I read it?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
That is why he is referred to as one like.
And he lifted up his eyes and looked, and lo, 3 men stood by him. And when he saw them, he ran to meet them from the tent, and bowed himself toward the floor, and said, My Lord, if now I have found favor in thy sight, pass not away, I pray thee, from thy servant. Okay, he continues to say certain things. He asks Sarah to do something. He takes some bread, he takes some butter, some milk.
Who does?
Abraham, right? This is for the feasting, right? And they said, and these are the 3. They said, Where is Sarah, thy wife? And he said, Behold, in the tent. Okay. Then now Abraham and Sarah were old and well stricken in age, and it ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of women. Then Sarah laughed within herself, saying, I am waxed old. Shall I have pleasure, my Lord being old also? And the Lord said unto Abraham, Wherefore did Sarah laugh? Saying, is anything too hard for the Lord? Is the time appointed I will return to thee according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son? And okay, so if the narrative, the whole chapter here, it keeps on referring to the Lord. And the context is based upon these 3 men who appeared to Abraham. Now, it goes on. And the men rose up from thence and looked towards Sodom. And Abraham went with them to bring them on their way. And the Lord said, so this is what the Lord is saying. Shall I hide anything from Abraham which I'm going to do? Seeing that Abraham will become a great and mighty nation, right? And the Lord said, again, verse 20, because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down and see whether they have done. Okay, again, and the men turned their faces from thence and went to Sodom. But Abraham stood yet before the Lord. And Abraham drew near to the Lord and said, Wilt thou also destroy the righteous? Okay, so Abraham is asking these questions, right, to the Lord. So I'm asking you, this interaction clearly shows us that there is something going on here where God and man, there's an interaction taking place, and the interaction is taking place in creation. Now this goes against the Islamic theology that God enters into time.
Right.
Creation.
Can I just ask, what is the word used for the word Lord?
Yahweh?
No, is it? In
No.
this particular?
This
It
is
isn't. So
English.
what is it?
Yahweh in Hebrew.
What is the word used?
Lord?
What is the word Elohim mean?
El, Elohim. I mean, it depends on the context, but normally it's plural. Lord. But let's just go for the word Lord.
I'm glad you said it depends on the context. You see, are you suggesting that the three people you talked about were actually a representation of a creator?
I'm suggesting that Abraham met God. Now, whether or not it was all three, whether it was one of the three,
sorry.
whether it was the three themselves or one of the three, but what I'm simply saying is, I'm not getting into the weeds. I'm just saying to you, the context of the verse is that God and Abraham are speaking to one another in time and in creation.
Right. Okay. I can understand that. But are we going to restrict the understanding of the Creator in the Bible to that verse only?
Well, I'm using this verse right now to suggest to you that the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that Jews and Christians believe in is not the God that you believe into. And I'm using this verse as an example.
I see. I can understand. You see, I would suggest that I agree with you.
That we don't serve the same two gods?
No.
Awesome. Your God is different than mine.
I didn't say that. I said I would agree with you because I can clearly see you have a misunderstanding about how the Creator operates. So you are right. You have got a potentially skewed view of who the Creator or the God of Abraham is in Islam and Christianity. Now, why do I say that? Because as you have pointed out to me, you have restricted it to that particular verse. Now, if I were to say, okay, you know what, was the Creator mentioned prior to this incident in Genesis? So, what would your answer be?
Rather than dealing with your question, I'm trying to basically find out exactly what it is that you're denying. Because Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Sorry, I do apologize. I'll interject. I asked you a specific question.
Yeah, but your question
now,
is not dealing
second.
with the things I've said before.
Not at all. I did. First, you asked. I'll tell you. You asked me, is it the same God? I said no, and you quickly thought I meant an admission. I said no. What I said is your potentially skewed.
No.
Let me finish. Your potentially skewed view of the Creator has, in your mind, led you to the conclusion.
No is
that,
no.
Can I finish?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, wait.
No.
No.
Yeah. No is no. When a man says no, it means no.
No is no, but you also need to understand the reasoning for why I said no. You seem to have missed that out very quickly.
No, you're justifying
Having said
that now.
Not at all.
Yes, you are.
Well, you're entitled to that opinion. However,
and you're entitled to yours.
Thank you. In the conversation, I've asked you a very simple question now. The Creator, was he mentioned prior to this in the book of Genesis? Yes or no?
So what was my first question? And have you answered that?
Yes, I did.
What was my first question?
Your first question was the God of Abraham, Moses, Jesus, from the Christian perspective and the Islamic perspective, is it the same God? Yeah? I said, no. After you gave me what I consider to be respectfully a skewed explanation of those verses, I said, if you take it on that basis, the answer is no, because you have a skewed understanding of the Creator. And to clarify that, I said to you, okay, I tell you what, let's take this further. Why don't we look at what has been said about the Creator prior to those verses?
So
I have not finished,
Okay.
Prior to that verse or the set of verses, was the Creator mentioned in Genesis? Because you see, my view is simple here.
Sure.
Yeah?
We know this.
If you look at the Bible, you either tell me you are going to look at it as a whole, or you are going to tell me, no, I'm not going to look at it as a whole. I'm going to look at it according to what I think it ought to be restricted to make my point. Which one?
So, I asked you initially about the God of Abraham,
Moses,
Isaac,
Yeah.
and Jacob. I didn't
Yeah.
mention
Oh, sorry.
Moses.
Apologies. Yes,
The
you
God
did.
of
You did.
Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Yes, you restricted
And
it.
specifically,
Yeah.
the reason why I mentioned the God of Abraham, Isaac, and
Yeah.
Jacob is because all three of these individuals, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob,
Yeah.
are mentioned in the Jewish Torah.
Okay.
They're not mentioned in the Babylonian books, the Assyrian books, the Greek books, the Roman books.
Okay.
They're mentioned just simply in the Jewish books.
Okay.
Now you claim some kind of attachment or allegiance to the Abrahamic faith. You say that you are one of the Abrahamic faith, right? Most
Hey,
Muslims do.
this is a side issue. Can we restrict it to the subject
However-
matter? I have literally got 2 minutes.
Okay. However, maybe we can continue this another time.
I said that. The
but
look,
you started it.
uh,
You tapped me.
H,
Come on, man.
you are being unfair. I was saying,
don't mind.
1 second, I gave
don't
you.
have to justify it.
No, H, I gave. No, you have to be honest though.
Yeah, but you're always justifying your honesty
I don't
or
know.
your
You're off
dishonesty.
again. You're off again. I gave you a card, and what did you do? You said, "Can I just ask you?" Look, H.
Stop this.
I agree with you. Stop this. No problem. We'll
Yeah.
continue it. God of Jacob,
I want you to think
Abraham,
about it, and I want you to just think. Hold on. I want you to think about it. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I'm simply saying to you that the God I worship, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob,
sure.
is totally different than the God of Allah.
Okay.
And I mentioned to you there are attributes. There are particular. You mentioned the words titles and names, and I'm saying to
No,
you.
I mentioned attributes.
You mentioned attributes,
Yes.
and I'm simply saying to you, based upon the biblical revelation, the narrative of the book, right? We cannot equate the two or that entity with the one that's revealed.
Okay.
So maybe next week, hopefully.
No,
can-
when we come again, it won't be next week. It
when is it?
usually is a few weeks after. But I gave you the card for that reason actually.
So what was the purpose
Did
of the
you
card?
take the card?
For me to email?
Yeah. No. If you drop me an email, I've got you on log so that when we are coming, I can drop you a line to let you know
Oh, okay,
I'm coming.
okay.
That's
yeah, but
the
I don't
idea.
come here every week.
No, do we? So we can.
Can we do this online?
Yeah, we. Honestly, H, I wouldn't
I
mind.
feel this is one of the
Online
most-
may be a good idea.
I just feel this is one of the most important subjects that Speaker's Corner can understand. That
No problem.
we have a worship of two different.
Well,
right?
that is what is assumed right now.
I'm telling you, man.
No, that's fine. You are entitled to that. But I think maybe perhaps if we have an exchange of views, God willing, we can come to a conclusion.
Who is this God
that
willing? Who are you
as
calling God?
as you noticed, Creator willing, so it is independent.
Sorry.
Yeah,
H.
do you mind, H?
Of course,
If you-
no. He's got.
He is not giving us
No,
his
listen.
name. He ain't going to give us
The
his
reason
email
why
address.
is because I've got the email. I mean, I've got his card.
Yeah.
So what I will try to do is.
Assalamu alaikum. How are you? Are you okay? Good.
Okay, that's
Yeah, no
But
problem
I
at
just
all.
want
H.
him
Yeah.
I just want us to have this firm understanding that who are we Jews and Christians? Who do we worship? As opposed to who are Muslims and who do they worship? And I'm my argument. I tell you this is factual, right? That there are two different, there's something going on here, and at some point you need to kind of reconcile, right? You worship somebody totally different than who we worship.
Honestly, H, I will tell you that once we have assessed the evidence, you will agree with me.
That what? What do you say?
That we are worshipping, all the Abrahamic peoples are worshipping the one true Creator.
I have one
Allah.
last question. Do you believe
No,
that?
don't start questions. We've
This
already.
one, okay.
No belief.
One question.
No.
Do you believe?
Watch this. See, he'll still
You
insist
said,
asking the question.
You said that we worship the same God. One
I
question.
said, no, I didn't. I said,
Okay.
after we have considered the evidence,
Yeah.
you will agree with
Then
me that we all worship the same
Okay,
one
so then I have
Creator,
one simple
Allah.
God. Would you say that
No.
Allah is Allah triune?
There you go again. You see, you are introducing something that
No.
requires
We'll do
a.
it
It's
online.
only because I know
Do
who
it
I
online.
worship.
We can do it on Skype.
Okay.
And I'm asking you, is Allah triune?
I will tell you, the Creator is what the Creator has said the Creator is.
So is he triune?
What did I just say? Did I
Yeah, I'm asking, is he
make a
triune?
mistake? When you say triune, what do you mean?
Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Is he that?
Yeah.
Is that what the Bible says?
Yes.
I say no, it doesn't.
Okay, so
So
Allah,
we will
so then
discuss
we
the
don't-
evidence.
So then we don't.
As I said, let's look at the evidence.
Allah
That's
is
the
not
easiest.
triune, we
There
don't
you go
worship the
again.
same God.
We have not considered the evidence. God bless. Look after yourself, brother. Yeah, definitely.
To be
Drop us a
continued.
line. Oh, absolutely. Drop us a line and we will continue. Okay.
I look for the next Muslim to hunt down because you guys are like pigeons today, man.
Look. At the end of the day,
I don't want to be
listen.
right.
Listen to me. If you had any,
I'm sorry.
and I mean this respectfully, if you had any,
mean it disrespectfully.
let me.
Mean it
No,
disrespectfully.
I wouldn't do that. Yes, I'm not taught to do that. Okay. You see, if you understood clearly when you came, I said I've only got 10 minutes. In fact, I told him, I said, no, I'm not.
No, he told me.
One second. I told him I don't want to even start the engagement because I'm familiar with the brothers. Yeah, that's what happens. And then what they do, they claim that we are trying to be like pigeons. I don't mind that.
say
It's a
you're claiming to
personal
be
thing.
like pigeon.
It's
What
a
is
personal.
that?
One
Now
second.
you're saying
you
stuff
see,
I didn't
but
say.
do you see why I don't want to engage?
What did I just say?
You said Muslims are like pigeons.
Yeah, that's
No,
what
I
you
didn't
just
say
said.
that.
Of course you did.
It's
Were
like
we
you-
deaf? Were we deaf?
Anyway,
God bless you.
when you play that,
Yeah.
you're gonna realize what he said and what he said. That's not what I said.
No, I'll just do that.
You said you're like pigeons today. Didn't you say that?
Anyway, well, you're gonna watch the video. But go on.
Oh, Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. All good? Right. Here is one.
No. We don't take it. We don't take it
See.
seriously.
Who is the pigeon now?
I don't take it
Here.
seriously.
Yeah.
I take you seriously, but I don't take him seriously.
Of course you're not going to take it.
No problem, Shaykh. Okay, drop us a line and God willing we will take it on.
Just in case. Oh, can I have the time again?
I'm sure I gave you one.
Yeah, that's what I thought, but for some odd reason, I
No
can't.
problem. There you are, brother. All right.
All of these, or just
No, just this one at the top. That's fine. Okay.
Don't fall away, yeah?
You know what I told him? I said, I bet you the brothers will come late because they've been sat the whole night waiting for Khabib. And then Khabib's ko mara and then they'll all
So if we worship the same God.
Are you then deciding to go on with David Wood?
Well, the thing is, it's not my decision. It's Mohammed Hijab. I spoke to our teachers.
Yeah, what did they say?
The issue is, like, what I see, to be honest, brother Shabir, with David Wood, he has no integrity.
I agree.
And the thing is with him is like we was very excited. Okay, you think we'll give him some platform, something like that. But then we thought to ourselves, like me, I didn't mention hijab. He's bigger than hijab, like 2-3 times bigger on YouTube.
Yes,
So the issue is with him, I believe, because we do like the groundwork, we do all the dirty work, like in the dawah.
Yeah, of course.
So I don't think it befits you or Brother Mansur to debate someone like a dirtback like him. You know?
No, I
It
agree.
needs to be someone
I
like
agree.
hijab, you know, someone
Yeah.
more ragged, because we're not going there peacefully, like, oh hello, no. We're not going to do anything
It's
wrong.
either that or MMA.
We're just gonna, he wanted to, he said no. Just straight to the point, you know, just debunk it. Because he wants to talk about secondary issues. We want to talk about Trinity and Tawheed.
Yes, true. Don't go anywhere else.
It's, no.
Yeah.
We won't, because it's irrelevant. When we did the challenge him, we said these are side issues. It's subjective.
Absolutely.
Okay, how was he? Okay, he's
Totally
having-
irrelevant.
Irrelevant.
It is totally
irrelevant.
irrelevant.
Trinity and
So
Tawheed.
restrict him to that. Yeah. No, I agree with you.
definitely.
I agree. Shall we? It's past.
You gonna go?
Professor Sheikh, we need to fly now. It's 5 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're flying now, yeah?
Driving. Not literally. Yeah. Right. Shall we go? Look after yourself, Sheikh. Inshallah.